Mhm.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Autism Mastermind podcast. I am Melinda, and I am here with my co-host, Vanessa.
Hey, masterminds.
Hello.
Yeah.
And today we have a really cool guest today because it's the topic that we really enjoy. And especially here in California, the weather's nice now, so we can get out, we can swim, we can walk, we can do all sorts of things. And we now know someone, we're about to meet someone who can help us with this process. So, welcome Daniel Stein, turning disability into strength through fitness. Welcome, Daniel, to the podcast.
Yeah, ladies, thank you for having me here. It's an honor and it's a great opportunity. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
you're
you.
welcome. Can you maybe just tell us about your journey and how you got started with something like Special Strong? Like what led you here?
Yeah, so crazy thing, it was not my idea at all. I would have never came up with this idea ever. So the short story is when I was 4 years old, I was diagnosed with a learning disability, and my parents ended up getting me involved in sports to try and help me have an outlet.
Mm.
And when I started having an outlet, my life just got dramatically better. And so I started working out as a result of starting to play sports. So middle school, high school, worked out like crazy. And, for some people, working out is a habit. And for me, it was just something that I always loved. And I believe that God wired me to do that. It wasn't a discipline to go to the gym. It was like, I need this to feel better. that
And
was,
I
that was
understand. Yeah, my spouse is a surfer and he's like, I need to get in the ocean. It's like he says,
exactly.
you don't understand. This is not a want, this is a need to. And
Yeah,
so yeah.
it's the same way. It's the exact same way with me. So after high school, it was actually a mentor of mine in 2011. He sat down with me one day at Starbucks, and these were his exact words. And he said, Daniel, God gave me a vision where I saw you, literally saw you working with kids and adults that had disabilities. And at that particular time, I had a very successful career in banking. I was making great money. I really thought my future was in banking. And then all of a sudden, I have this old man telling me that God is telling him something for me, right?
Yeah.
Very strange. And I didn't even know God could speak that way at the time. And but for some reason, I just knew inside of me that this was my calling, even though it made no sense. And a couple years later, I got married to my wife, 2013, Trinity. And then in 2016, her and I started the company Special Strong, all based on what my mentor, Rob, told me in 2011. And today we've impacted over 10,000 individuals with mental, physical, cognitive challenges. Autism is our number one clientele. So
Mhm.
over
Okay.
50% of our clients have autism. And we're in 4 states, and we just expanded to California.
Yay.
So, we're in the Sacramento, Folsom area, and that location will be open in about 90 days. So we're really excited about bringing Special Strong and Abundant Life to California. So,
Oh, very, very cool. And that's what I love is that's what's making you guys different and making you guys unique is the way that you are approaching this and that you really followed a calling. Like you felt like, you know what, I could have this great life in banking and get super
Hmm.
wealthy, but then, it's a lot of times too, it's like, what are you going to do with all that money if there's no purpose, right? So we really love that you did
Yeah,
that. And that's part of what led us to doing this podcast, right? We were like, we just felt called to, we to get that there is hope and there's things that you can do to improve your child's life. So and your life too, as a parent.
exactly. And
Yeah.
what does make your program different from other fitness programs? I know you said that majority of your clients are on the spectrum, and I know the spectrum is a spectrum.
Yeah,
There's,
it is a spectrum.
it's definitely a spectrum. And I actually Vanessa and I are into the Spellers method, the Spellers movement. And we noticed on your website that you had individual spelling with a letterboard,
oh,
which
yeah.
was
Yeah.
very cool to us.
Yeah.
And that's fascinating. Tell us a little bit about that. Like, how do you adapt to each? Do you do like an intake and kind of see where they're at and what their needs are, and then base it on that?
Yeah. So you asked two really good questions. So I'll start with the first one, which is what makes us unique.
Mhm.
And well, first I'll say that there is no one else in the world that does what we do. So number one, that makes us really unique because nobody else is providing adaptive fitness services at the level we are. And then what makes us incredibly unique, I think this is our secret sauce. Yes, we have great programs, and I'll get into that. Okay. But it's really about the people that we bring on. We bring on incredible people who have a love for this population. We don't just go recruit from gyms and looking for, just regular personal trainers. A lot of people in my career have told me that are trainers, they'd say, Daniel, I could never do what you do. I don't have the patience for it.
Yeah.
And bless you guys. Okay. This is not your calling. Okay. But it is my calling. I don't need patience for this. It's natural for me. Okay.
Right.
We're looking for those people that it's a calling for them. And when you're watching them train someone, it's not looking like dread for them. Right.
Yeah.
This is something that they love. So that's really what makes us unique. And then as far as the actual model itself, we do, traditional weight training, resistance training, cardio. We do all that stuff. One of the things that makes us very unique is the approach we take to the brain. So we do very targeted brain exercises, top to bottom exercises, crossing over the midline exercises. We do a lot of multi-directional movements. So rather than just doing a bicep curl, like what if we did a bicep curl and a press, bicep curl and press, right? Something like that requires step A, step B, translates into other areas of the individual's life. And a great example is somebody that we trained for years. One day they were able to actually independently do the dishes. And we don't do dishwasher training in the gym.
Yeah, no, but it translated.
It translated. And that's the beautiful, the thing about our model is just so beautiful as we take that approach to the brain, and then everything's customized. And going into your second question, Melinda, before anybody comes into the program, they have to fill out a pretty lengthy registration form, and most special needs parents are already used to that anyway. So
We're professionals. Yes.
But it's long. I mean, we get everything. The first thing we want to do is make sure that they're qualified to work out, in the sense that they don't have any medical challenges that would need a doctor's release, because we do get that a lot.
Yeah,
because of the types of clients we work with. And then, we look for everything. And then once we have those forms, we do a consultation, typically over the phone or in person. And then we do goal setting to find out what their goals are. And then we do our free session. And this is where they get to experience our group classes, our aquatics classes, or our private training completely free. And we show them how we're going to help them reach their goals through our services. And then we work the plan.
I love it. Another thing I had noticed too that made you guys unique is I noticed you had a nutrition component to it, which is a lot of times, that gets missed, right? You're doing all the other things, but then, the kids eating Captain Crunch and drinking like a gallon of milk a day, and that might not be the best food to help, pair with the program that you're putting into place, because the body and the brain need nutrition to thrive as well. So I noticed that, and I love how you guys broke it down into different areas of need. Like, let's say you're coming in with anxiety or autism or OCD, and you had all of the different approaches nutrition wise as well for those individuals, which I thought that was really cool. That stood out to me.
Yeah, thank you. We do have a great adaptive nutrition program. It's something that's newer for us, that we're growing. And it is true that based on your condition, there is different diet plans. The biggest challenge, and what we're really getting into, is how do we actually help somebody adhere to a plan? because you can get a plan online, okay? I mean, and you can follow the keto diet, but what are the success chances of somebody actually sticking to it?
Yeah.
Very little. So we're trying to help people change their thinking, and especially as a family, if you're looking at a parent, like a special needs mom or dad, a lot of times, if their son or daughter needs to make a change, it impacts the whole family.
Agreed. We've done that as a family. In order for everyone, it's like, and as a mom, I don't want to be cooking like 3 different meals. So if I'm going to be eating a certain way, then the kids are going to be eating a certain way. And there are ways to adapt it, right? Like, let's say your kid can't eat dairy. Well, you could cook a meal and then have the dairy on the side for those who can have it, or something,
Yeah,
stuff
it's
like that.
definitely a family. It's same
Family
with
affair.
family affair. It's same with fitness. If your whole family is working out and exercising, even taking walks daily, and you put it into your routine, why not? And I'm sure that the parents that come with the clients, students, kids, whatever you want to call them at your place, they probably are like, oh, I want to do that too. I want to do those movements too. And then they're getting a workout.
Yeah, I wrote for a magazine article probably about a year ago, and they were asking me for tips for parents on how to get their kids to exercise. And the number one tip that I have for parents is to exercise.
You know what? I agree. And I have also two daughters who are in their 20s, and I've actually recently started my oldest daughter, I'm like, I've loved going to heated yoga for years. That's like my jam. But so then my oldest started going up in where she lives, Northern California. And then now I've got my middle one coming with me too, because they're seeing me do it. Right. So yeah.
That's
You
it.
know,
A whole lifetime of fitness. I know.
yeah.
And we're working on that right now with my daughter. And it's just putting, today we're gonna wake up and go for a walk around the block, and then we'll have breakfast.
Yeah.
And it is true, like in implementing those things is a little difficult sometimes. And I know that you probably have seen clients come in that it takes 5 sessions to get them even in the door
Yeah.
to your place. So
Sure.
how do you work with that? Is it like you're just working with the parents and kind of saying, pardon me, saying to them, we'll get this, we'll show them, and bringing things out. So you definitely have to have passion for what
Yeah.
you do, and like you said, patience for what you're doing. And I mean, you can tell, I'm sure you can tell right away when you're going through the hiring process and hiring coaches that
Yep.
the right one. And I would tell you, I just watched that Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders camp. All of those girls would be great at your fitness
Oh,
center.
sure. Yeah. Yeah.
They are so passionate about helping so many people. I loved that. I loved that. On a side note, love that documentary so much. But
Yeah.
so that would be great. But do you like walk us through how you would deal with something like that?
Yeah. Like your biggest challenges.
The biggest challenges. Do you have any stories of that you could share of what maybe one of your biggest challenges that now is a big success?
Yeah. I mean, we have a lot of stories like
Yeah,
that. I
oh,
would
I'm
say,
sure.
I would say probably. So when I started the company in 2016, a lady from Facebook reached out to me, and she said, "Hey, she was like an hour away, and she said, I really want to make the drive to come see you, and I want to become your client." And her son Brian used a letterboard and had a
I
service
love
dog,
it.
and
Oh, that's like me. That's our
yeah,
family.
yeah. And at the time, I didn't have any prior experience at this time. I just started the company. I had never worked with anybody nonverbal or anything. And so what made this even more challenging is that this young man, Ryan, I mean, he was probably 8 or 9 at the time. He was all over the place. So he'd be in the gym, and he'd run into the gym and squirt hand sanitizer on his hand and eat it.
We know all
So
about that.
yeah, so if I didn't hold on to his hand, which I learned fast, if I did
Mhm.
not hold on to his hand, he would go to the hand sanitizer machine and just start licking it off of his hand.
Yes.
So that was my very first experience and first training session I ever had. And I remember going to the mom at the end of the session. I felt so bad because I felt like I was like a failure, right? And many times he went and got hand sanitizer. I felt like we didn't get a lot done. And mom was like, "Wow, that went great." She's like, "I can't believe he stayed in the gym with you. Like,
I know. Yeah.
how do I continue this?" Right. And they stayed clients with us for probably about 5 years. And
Oh,
Ryan
beautiful.
made remarkable difference. We got him on the leg press, and he just made incredible progress. And it's a really neat success story. And we have a lot of success stories like that. We've had some clients that had maladaptive behaviors, which we have to be really careful with.
Yeah.
But I had a client that used to he used to bang his head against the wall and hit the wall. And so his parents would have to put a football helmet on his head because he's a big boy and they couldn't stop him.
Yeah.
And last year, which would have been my 6th year training him in a row, we had a celebration in his backyard, and the parents built a fire pit, and they started a fire, and a bunch of people came out, and Robert burned his boxing gloves that he used to put on when he would have these behavior fits. And the reason he burned them is because those fits are gone. He doesn't have them anymore.
Yeah, I'm a strong believer that that's communication of some sort, right? Like anything that they're doing that way, and especially when they can't speak, that typically comes with a motor. Now we know through research that that's a motor issue, not necessarily, like a, ability
Behavioral.
to,
Yeah.
behavioral or ability to like receive and process information. It's motor, right? So
Yep.
they're probably so frustrated going like, you know, sometimes it's they're in pain. Sometimes it's because they want to be able to do something and then they can't execute it and it's frustrating, right? So yeah, that's so beautiful. Like we both have stories of hand sanitizer in our children, and like it makes me laugh because during the pandemic, this organization thought they were helping us families, and they sent us like this
Oh God.
box, and like and Melinda had told me, don't open that box and bring it in because it's full of hand sanitizer, and that's
Oh
like our
gosh.
nemesis.
I
You get
know.
it. Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
just working on that, and then 2020 hit and it went all out the window.
Yeah, we're
Oh
like,
God.
But it's
man.
like in that moment, I could see that parent being
Mhm.
like, "This is great." Even I mean, sans hand sanitizer, right? It's like you know they're gonna do that anyway. I mean, we had the same experience, but my daughter would put it on her face, not eat it, but put it on her face, and it would hurt her eyes, of course.
Right.
And I said,
Right.
Yep.
"Hey, if you don't want your eyes to get burned, just you can still use the hand sanitizer. It must be like a feeling for her, like
Yeah. Yeah.
a sensory thing." So I said, "But wipe the excess on your clothes, because who cares?"
Mhm.
Right. And that's what I taught her to do. So
Yeah.
no more face, but she could just wipe it on your clothes. Who cares? But so now she'll impulsively still go for the hand sanitizer, but at least we're not flushing her eyes out every time.
Yeah, that's great.
Every time that she goes for the hand sanitizer. But it's baby steps, right? So it's just
Yeah.
one step closer. So I totally get that parent saying, "Wow, my child couldn't sit down for 2 minutes and they spent, half an hour with you. They
Right.
must really like you."
Exactly. Yeah. And we try to make it fun. That's the most important
Yeah.
thing for us. It has to be fun.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
thankfully we don't have the problem a lot where somebody will come in and then not want to come back. I would say 80 to 90% of the time, the kids and adults too,
Mhm.
are typically begging to come back. They normally, because of the trainers that we hire, we have great people that are on our team. They have our core values. And it's normally there's an almost an instant bond that's formed between the trainer or the coach and the athlete. And that's where the magic happens, is when that bond
Yeah.
happens. Because
Yeah,
yeah.
because you're promoting, like you're including them, you're allowing them access, they're feeling like they're part of something. That's huge, right? That's so huge. And it, to me, it's like this is how you guys have kind of overcome that barrier where a lot of times, you know, and I can speak to like our past 4 years have been challenging. And a lot of times when my son was younger, I was gung ho, like, let's do this. So like, how would you approach it too, if you do have that family coming in and they're like, oh, I don't know, like, this just seems like another thing that might not work? Like, do you just, is a lot of encouragement behind it, and just like you said, kind of meeting them where they're at, the families and the individual? Yeah.
Yeah, I would say most parents probably come in very skeptical. They've never heard of anything like this before. They're probably wondering, my kid could probably never do this. A lot of parents feel that way because they've never seen they've never seen it happen before.
Mhm.
And so that's why we created that free 7-day pass. And there's no cost for it. Like
I
anybody can
love
try
that.
it out. And I mean, at the very least, you'll leave with a free workout.
Right.
And what we always encourage our parents to do is look at our social media, because we're constantly posting videos of other athletes.
Mhm.
And a lot of times that's really helpful for, the child to be able to see what they're getting into.
Right.
They can see the videos. So
Mhm.
we always encourage them, go on the Instagram, go on the
Mhm.
Facebook, and just see a little bit of what we do before you get into it. And that typically will help somebody take that leap of faith, because it is a leap of faith
Yep.
Right.
in many ways. And if they make that leap of faith, it's just the beginning of their journey to what we call abundant life for them. So
Love it. We'll be sure to link those in our show notes so people know where to find you guys. And then, that kind of leads us in. Do you guys collaborate with any other organizations to, help execute your program, or is this an all in-house operation?
yeah, I mean, it's an all in-house operation. We do have a nonprofit foundation as well. And so we raise money through our nonprofit to help support, low income special needs families who maybe couldn't afford our traditional
Mhm.
services. And then we'll actually sponsor those families, and they'll get
Oh, cool.
completely free training. We've done that for many families now. As a matter of fact,
Beautiful.
we just did our first annual, what we call Special Strong Games. This was a few weeks ago,
Oh,
and we had about 60 athletes
mm,
come out, and
yeah.
it's a giant competition. Everybody's put on teams,
Mm.
and it was just, it went incredible. I mean, some of these athletes had never worked out in their life, and they were just having a blast pushing heavy sleds and carrying heavy medicine balls and battle ropes. I mean, it was just incredible.
Oh,
And
that
we
like
raised,
fills my heart.
I know.
yeah,
I'm sure the energy
yeah,
there was
you have the chance, yeah.
amazing.
If you have the chance, yeah, the videos on our YouTube channel. If you have the chance, watch the video and you'll really get fired up. But we raised about $15,000 from that event. That was our first event, and all that money goes back into the nonprofit, and we use that to sponsor athletes.
Oh, I love that. So is that part, so I'm sure you guys have future goals and aspirations. I know you said you're in 4 states. Is one of your goals to, get into obviously access in more states across the US? And
Yeah, and one of the ways, the challenge we have is there's such a high demand for our services, and we have such limited locations. We only have 9 locations. We're a very small company right now, and we can only service somebody if they're in those 9 locations. So, as a matter of fact, next week we're actually launching an app. It's called Adaptive Fit, and now anybody will have access to adaptive fitness through this app. And it's going to work internationally all over the world. People can work with virtual training coaches, get nutrition coaching. They can join virtual classes. And we've already done this really well with about 20 virtual athletes, and we've trained them all over Zoom. And it's worked really, really well. People are typically skeptical of it, but it actually works really well. We've had great success rate with it.
Awesome. I would
Yeah.
say that you keep saying that you're small. I would say 9 locations is pretty good. That's
yeah.
awesome.
Well, so our vision is, I consider it small because when I compare it to our vision, we're nowhere close to where.
Right. You went 50
Yeah, well,
or 102 in each state.
so it's, yeah, I mean, I used to be focused on a specific number of locations, but more than that, I'm focused on the number of people that I want to impact. And I really want to impact at least 1 million athletes. And I also want to impact 100,000 coaches. So there's two targets for us: coaches, people that work for us, and then also the athletes. And so, how many locations will we have, and will we need to impact 1 million? At least 300. We've mapped that out.
Oh, I love that.
We have a 1 year, a 3 year, a 5 year, a 10-year plan. And so if we stick to that 10-year plan and have 300 locations, we'll hit that 1 million. So that's why I say when you look at 9 locations and compare that to 300, a little small.
Yeah, I know.
No,
But you're still doing well.
The local church that I attend, that's what they have a part of it called Vision Builders, right?
Yeah.
And their original vision was to have like 4 locations, and now they're at like at 6. Now their new one is 16, right? Because things just keep growing and expanding, and you do have to have a plan. And I actually spent Friday with I'm in a different mastermind group, and we do that quarterly. It's so important to create those plans and those visions, and then there's a lot of power in manifestation. And when you write something down and you have it in a plan, and it ends up happening. So we look forward to seeing a location where we live. And,
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
In the meantime, I'm gonna be downloading that app though.
Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely. It's not available yet, but very soon. So get ready.
Oh,
So we're assuming the best way to have people reach out to you would be through your social media, through your website, YouTube, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got our email on the website. We've got an 800 number. So if they wanted to call and speak to our amazing office team, they can do that as well. So there's lots of different ways, but yeah, fastest way is probably just pick up the phone and call our 800 number, and you'll get a hold of somebody right away. It's the best way to do it.
I love it. I love the actually talking to someone instead
we
of
still
just
do that stuff. We're big on, it's one of our core values. We're big on relationship focused. So we're still big on building those relationships, and you're going to build a relationship much better over the phone than an email or a text. So
that is true, especially for us parents.
Yeah.
We want to hear a voice. We can look at the website, we can do all these things, but if we have specific questions, then we definitely want to speak to someone.
So you guys check it out, learn more about what Special Strong is doing, learn about their core values, and give them a call.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much, Daniel. We really appreciate your work and what you're doing and your passion, and for being on our podcast today and sharing everything with us. We really appreciate you.
Thank you for the opportunity, ladies. Appreciate it.